हेलो एंड वेलकम टू दिस स्पेशल कन्वर्सेशन। आज हम बात कर रहे हैं एक बड़ी फार्मा कंपनी की। फार्मा कंपनी का नाम है वॉकहार्ट और हम चलते हैं सीधे वॉकहार्ट हॉस्पिटल्स की मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर ज़हाबिया खोराकीवाला, जो कि डॉटर हैं मिस्टर हबीर खोराकीवाला की। थैंक यू वेरी मच हमारे साथ बात करने के लिए ज़ाहिबा। सबसे पहले हम बात करते हैं हेल्थ केयर स्पेस, और वॉकहार्ट हॉस्पिटल्स इस स्पेस में काफ़ी टाइम से है। पहले तो बताइए आपका क्या प्लान है जब हम वॉकहार्ट हॉस्पिटल्स की बात करें, क्या एक्सपेंशन कर रहे हैं आप और किस तरह से आप बिजनेस बढ़ाने की बात कर रहे हैं?
तो हम मतलब लास्ट I would say 10 years.
Right.
We've had 2-3 things we've done. One is that we've entered the tier 2 cities where healthcare has not been available. Tertiary level healthcare has not been available. People have always had to travel to the metros. So a large footprint that we have today is in the non-metros, providing that level of care. In the last 4 years, we've introduced 2 hospitals in Bombay. बहुत बड़ी facilities है, 300 बेड की each, और सभी specialities है, transplant से लेके cardiac, orthopedic, GI, critical care. So this is our focus. This has been our focus for the last 3-4 years. These 2 large facilities, which are really offering cutting-edge treatment in the regenerative space as well.
Okay, तो ये तो आपके अभी तक के प्लान्स हैं और अभी तक आपने ये किया, बट बिकॉज वॉकहार्ट एक फार्मा कंपनी है, आपके फादर ऑफ कोर्स उससे बहुत अच्छे से जुड़े हैं और सालों से हम देख रहे हैं, तो ये नेचुरल एक्सटेंशन था। क्या चॉइस थी आपके पास वॉकहार्ट में नहीं होकर आपने हॉस्पिटल्स को चुना?
तो डिसीजन मतलब ऑलमोस्ट 25 साल पहले हुई थी, before I was there, but the decision was not experimental or accidental. I think and when we got into the space, it was a single hospital for almost 10 years. And the reason for that was that I think we were trying to see if we wanted to make sure we get it right, we understand the space well. Hospitals is not an easy space, fairly complex in terms of processes, systems, etc. And if you want to replicate, you have to make sure you're replicating those systems and processes for it to be consistent and of that same quality. So that is why we got into the space slowly, but then after we got in, we did expand quickly.
Okay, so now what are your plans? क्योंकि अब जब आपने ये डिसीजन ले लिया कि हॉस्पिटल्स में आपको बढ़ना है, जैसे आपने बोला टियर 2 टियर 3 सिटीज में आपका फोकस है, क्यों ऐसा? मेट्रोज में नहीं रह के क्योंकि ऑलरेडी बहुत कंपटीशन है? यू थिंक देयर इज बेटर
opportunity, and I think it was an unmet need in the market. These cities are large cities. We're talking about Nagpur, Rajkot, Nasik. They are 1 million plus, and they did not have these kind of facilities. So I think it's not a small population, huge demand, and I think we were able to create a model that was viable and sustainable for the long term. And that's what really
तो अब क्या मतलब आप जो सिटीज आइडेंटिफाई किए हैं वहाँ पर तो आप बढ़ा रहे हैं बिजनेस, बट इसके बियॉन्ड भी, बिकॉज पेनिट्रेशन लेवल्स आई एम श्योर बहुत स्कोप है हमें और बढ़ाने में, तो व्हाट आर योर बिगर प्लान्स? अगर हम 2, 3, 4 की बात करें तो वो फिर भी छोटा ही लग रहा है फिलहाल।
So we have 8 hospitals, but I think for us the objective has always been not in terms of numbers necessarily, number of hospitals, but really in terms of the depth of work that we do. So one of the things that we've been doing and investing in for the last 8 years is the regenerative space. And these are the treatments that are being introduced across all our hospitals, starting from the metros and into the tier 2 cities as well. And it's in fairly widespread indications of orthopedics, wound healing and aesthetics. And it's very cutting edge, it's very contemporary. I would say that we're probably one of the first movers in this space, and regenerative space, stem cell space is going to, I think, change the way we understand treatments today.
And business prospects कैसे हैं? When I ask this, I mean to ask financials कैसे हैं business के फिलहाल? Are you making profits, and are these margins healthy?
So the tier 2 cities have been the older facilities. They're very viable facilities. The newer facilities, which are in the metros, they're new facilities, so they will maybe take another 6-12 months to really stand on their own feet. But overall the group has been which is why the metros did come in. I think Bombay for us was important because it provides also strategic advantage. You're able to invest in high-end technologies and then transplant that to the non-metros.
Okay. तो इन्वेस्टमेंट्स की अगर मैं बात करूं, बिकॉज दीज आर हाई कैपिटल इंटेंसिव बिजनेसेस एज वेल, तो वो कितना आपने मार्क किया हुआ है, कितना कर चुके हैं, आगे कितना करने वाले हैं और वो कैसे करेंगे?
I think, like I said, our objective is not to add number of hospitals. The investments are more in line with the requirements of a large part of what we're investing is the future, which is regenerative and stem cells.
So very specialized.
Very, very specialized, very niche, because we want to be really leaders in that space, and we feel that the regenerative space cuts across all treatment modalities, all specialities. So the opportunities there are multifold.
Okay, तो क्या investment कुछ आप share कर सकते हैं, कितना अभी तक किया है? और
it's 8 years. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know the numbers, but what I can say is that we're looking at this. The investments have been in proportion to all the kind of animal work we've done, like any research company would, to take it to now, phase of clinical treatment for patients. We're looking at the global markets as well. So those will be the kind of investments on an ongoing basis that will happen in this space.
Wonderful. So आपके global aspirations भी हैं, ये hospitals आप global भी
the stem cell and regenerative business, yes, which is which will be within the hospital or outside.
क्या regions हैं, geographies हैं जहाँ पर आप expand करेंगे?
So the US market, other markets, wherever these opportunities present as to be very large and worthwhile doing.
ओके, इंडियन हेल्थ केयर सेक्टर पे आपका क्या व्यू है? आप इसको बहुत सालों से स्टडी कर रहे हैं, जो गवर्नमेंट का फोकस रहा है, जैसे आयुष्मान भारत अनाउंस हुआ था, तो पहले तो हेल्थ केयर सेक्टर की आपकी क्या लगता है, आपको क्या हमारी अपॉर्चुनिटीज है जो मिस कर रहे हैं फिलहाल, और आयुष्मान भारत पे आपका क्या व्यू है?
So I think the Indian healthcare system is quite varied. मतलब you have those that you have very high quality care in the private hospitals, which is very, very top quality but extremely affordable. So when you compare to what you get in the West, you really do get good quality care for a fraction of the cost. Lekin then you have the government hospitals, which is the bulk of what the population can afford, where the care is extremely poor because of infrastructure, doctors not available, etc. So Ayushman Bharat, I think, has been ambitious and intended to kind of bring in a better quality of care to the masses. And I think how that plays out will be dependent on really how much the government is willing to pay for those services.
Right? At the end of the day, ये सवाल वहीं आ जाता है कि cost जो है वो आप कितना खर्च कर रहे हैं, and उसके हिसाब से quality of
I think today the way the Ayushman has been priced, speciality wise across the board, does not actually cover our costs.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
तो वहाँ पे work
So
करने
I
की
think that
ज़रूरत है.
it's absolutely imperative for it to become something that private systems want to take.
Sure, and I think अभी तक वो हमने नहीं देखा है, on ground नहीं हुआ है, and I think काफी काम वहाँ होना है. आपके हिसाब से जो आपकी meetings हुई हैं government officials से, क्या response मिला है?
Very keen to kind of roll it out. I think the government is looking to kind of at least penetrate the tier 2 cities first, not necessarily the metros immediately. There has been some dialogue, but not too much in the direction of looking at rate revisions or any of that. So I think we're not really seeing any change from the payer becoming a more viable system.
Okay.
But we are seeing more, I would say, forces being applied so that the uptake of the scheme gets into the private healthcare system, because that today is 70% of patients avail treatments in private hospitals.
बट बीच में ये भी खबर आई थी कि आप लोग हॉस्पिटल बिजनेस से एग्जिट करें, आपने पिछले कुछ हॉस्पिटल बेचे थे फोर्टिस को.
That was 10 years ago.
So उसके बाद से तब क्यों ऐसा किया और अब भी वापस क्यों?
I think that time it was the need of the company. The pharma company was going through a distressful period, and that was the need of the hour to kind of raise some money for the group.
आपको लगता है कि आपको अभी अपॉर्चुनिटी है, आप फोर्टिस reverse the process?
No, I don't think we're thinking of that. I think the healthcare space is.
But M&A is a good way to grow the business, and I think अगर अच्छी properties और अच्छे hotels
absolutely,
हैं, तो आप क्यों नहीं उसको consider करेंगे?
I mean, it's not our priority today. Like I said, for us, it's more depth of the what we're
What you're doing.
yeah, and we want to kind of stay
Specialization.
focused on that.
Stay
We don't want to
focused.
just go after the numbers, because at the end of the day, the numbers have to have some value to it too.
So you know, how is it to work with your dad? Because वो इस business में इतने अच्छे से
Yeah.
entrenched हैं, तो आपने उनसे क्या कुछ चीजें ली, सीखे जो आप अप्लाई कर रहे हो, और आई थिंक आपको वो हेल्प कर रहा है.
So I think his style of functioning is very empowering.
What does he tell you to do?
So
मतलब
actually, he
उनके-
doesn't tell me much.
Oh, he doesn't. He lets you be.
So he lets me be.
Lets you be,
Kind of take my own decisions, learn from my own mistakes, and I think that is the biggest,
Learning.
I guess, mentorship I've got, which is not to be.
But
too
what does he
high.
expect from you? मतलब
I
आपको
think-
पता है ना कि
I think
उनके
he
लिए
expects
focus-
me to learn fast, and given the opportunity to kind of learn it and add value. In terms of the strategic direction of the company, I think that's where we're all aligned. But he is a tough boss, so yeah, I mean, it's
So
always
अभी
pressure.
structure अगर मैं बोलूँ तो
Yes.
Wockhardt is the listed company.
Correct,
जो
correct,
he is the chairman.
He's the chairman of the group.
Group, yeah.
And Wockhardt Pharma is a listed company. Wockhardt Hospitals is privately held.
Yeah. Do you plan to list it? Yeah, IPO
No, that's
कराएंगे?
not the plan.
No,
No.
not the plan. So what is the integration between these two companies? कुछ direct bearing है?
No.
Completely
It's
independent.
completely independent.
Okay. Do you also participate in Wockhardt functions? Because
I'm on the board,
हाँ,
and that's really about it. That my role is.
फार्मा एक बड़ा कॉम्प्लेक्स सेक्टर कहते हैं, क्योंकि और डिफेंसिव भी है. पिछले 2-3 साल में इट हैज़ गॉन थ्रू अ बिट ऑफ अ स्ट्रेस, और अभी भी वो पूरी तरह से स्ट्रेस बाहर नहीं आया. ज़्यादातर यूएस एफडीए को लेकर, ये अक्रॉस इंडस्ट्री की जो प्रॉब्लम है बोल रही हूँ. वॉकहार्ट एज अ ग्रुप कैसे ऐसे चैलेंजेस से डील करता है?
I'm really not. I mean, I think
Sure.
my brother would be better to speak on this in a more concerted way.
Yeah.
But obviously, there are strategies being applied and efforts being made, because at the end of the day, that has to be it's a priority to solve for the company.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And for Wockhardt, क्या रोड मैप है, फ्यूचर रोड मैप? मैं अगर ग्रुप कंपनी की बोलूँ जिसमें हॉस्पिटल्स भी है और वॉकहार्ट भी है, तो कितना परसेंटेज ऑफ बिजनेस, इफ आई वर टू आस्क यू, कंट्रीब्यूशन होगा फ्रॉम हॉस्पिटल्स?
Also, we are a drop in the ocean.
वेरी स्मॉल.
We are very small. We've always been a drop in the ocean, and yeah, that's how it is. But I think the impact that hospital makes is really the visibility.
करेक्ट.
Because people, when you ask the layperson about
But
Wockhardt, they don't know the
exactly.
pharma company, they know Wockhardt Hospitals,
Hospitals,
right?
yeah.
And that was a lot of the objective, that we really wanted to kind of provide healthcare and have that level of impact at the ground level. It's different. They both add completely different value to the company, but just as significant. Numbers don't say it all always.
ऑफ कोर्स. एंड जैसा आपने बोला, वॉकहार्ट हॉस्पिटल्स बड़ा ब्रांड
Yeah.
इन टर्म्स ऑफ परसेप्शन है,
Yeah.
बट नंबर्स जैसा आपने बोला वो आपका फोकस नहीं है ज़्यादा बढ़ाने का. तो डू यू थिंक आप कहीं उसको अंडरमाइन कर रहे हैं, ये प्ले जो आपको मिल सकता है इन टर्म्स ऑफ मार्केटिंग, इन टर्म्स ऑफ लेटिंग पीपल नो कि वॉकहार्ट ब्रांड के हॉस्पिटल्स हैं इस कंट्री में, और आप ग्लोबल एस्पिरेशंस भी रख रहे हो?
So I mean, I think the brand for the physical size that we have, I think from the mindshare perspective, we occupy quite a large space in people's minds. Largely also, I think we've had very strong relationships with Harvard Medical International over 17-18 years, and that's really built really what we are today, the legacy that we have. So I think it's I mean, for us, I guess the objectives, we're not only a hospital company, we're a healthcare company. And so the priorities are between everything that we do,
Yeah.
and not just in a single area where
Correct.
that's
It's a
our bread and
much
butter
bigger
only. Absolutely.
pool. Exactly.
So that's how it kind of gets looked at as well.
Sure. So how do you spend your day? कैसे आपका दिन जाता है? क्या कैसे
So
आप?
yeah, so I have 2 girls, daughters. One is 4 and one is 2. My husband drops them off at 8:30. We all leave at the same time. I pick them up at 5:30, and then that's my sacred time to always pick them up. I never not
How
pick them
nice.
up.
Yeah, okay.
So you make those.
So it's like the balance that you do between the couples.
Yeah.
एक, and both
Yeah.
are very small right now. तो
Yeah.
उनको बड़ा mom time की ज़रूरत होते हैं. So how do you balance this? Because I think it's commendable. It's amazing to see how you're managing work and your family.
I think you make choices. I think there are always trade-offs. You can't say that you have it all. But the choices are yours, and they're my choices to kind of balance it in the way that I think is best for me, best for my kids. And but I keep my kids' time sacrosanct, so I don't do anything on the weekends which doesn't involve them.
I think we all have become weekend moms.
Yeah, so you like just prioritize that, and then everything else takes a back seat, which is fine because that's what you decide to do. So
fantastic. That's very, very encouraging and very nice. जो काम करते हैं women especially, and I think it's always good to see other women
and
manage.
so good for your kids to see their mums as role models as well.
Absolutely, I agree with that. दूसरा आप एक स्कूल भी रन करते हैं Aurangabad, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
What is it about it? What is the school?
So Aurangabad actually is the base, or has been where the pharma company started 50 years ago.
Exactly.
We have R&D, manufacturing, everything there, almost over 3,000 employees there. And I think my father wanted to give back to the city, and so he thought education was a space that we could look at. We also wanted to do something for the city in that space where which doesn't exist. So we have an IB school. It's the first IB school in Aurangabad.
Wow. Okay.
In fact, we're just going in for candidacy next week. And it's a 2-year-old school, but we're running an IB continuum school, which is from kindergarten to grade 12. And we have a CBSE school from grade 6 to grade 12.
Healthcare and education, great causes, I think. But education में और focus होगा, आप और बढ़ाएंगे? Or it's just very
it's
special?
It's meant to be for this, and this was the motive. Who knows how it goes in the next 10 years, and if that aspiration
If
comes.
not in the hospital business, आप अपने आप को कहाँ देखते हैं?
Oh, good question. I don't know. I can't imagine myself now because I've been doing
so
this for 10 years.
You just thought that this is the family business.
Maybe I would be an artist or something. I would paint.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Creative. She's very creative, I'm sure. And finally, Wockhardt Hospitals का आपने मुझे एक basic roadmap बताया जिस direction में आप जा रहे हैं. Global opportunities भी आप बता रहे हैं. अभी फिलहाल आपके पास कोई ऐसा प्लान है जहां आप इसको देख सकते हैं, कोई सिनर्जी या फिट इंटीग्रेटेड फिट जिस रीजेनरेटिव स्पेस में जो अलाइक हॉस्पिटल्स हो इंडिया में या बाहर जिनको आप अक्वायर कर लें और बड़ा करें?
No, because the regenerative space that we're in is very in-house. So this is all the R&D that has happened within the system. This is nothing that we have acquired. And what we're at today, we've actually shared it with our partners at Harvard, and they've been pretty amazed at what we've done as well. So I think we feel confident now to say that we have the capabilities and capacities to do this on our own. The business opportunities may be multiple, and therefore we may look for business opportunities as things progress, but from a specificity of the research and the development, I think that's completely going to be what we do in-house, and it's organic.
Okay, and finally, क्योंकि आप इस R&D based very high R&D research center hardcore उसमें focus करते हैं, तो उस पर क्या plans हैं? How do you plan to expand that? Because it's a constant process.
Yes.
तो उसमें कितना focus बढ़ेगा? Do you have any figures or numbers to tell us कि constant investments कितने होंगे वहाँ पर?
I mean, I think on a continuous basis we're investing. How much we're investing, I would say maybe double-digit crores is something that we spend annually, and we will continue to do so.
Okay, and the hospital business में आपकी growth कितनी होगी industry के vis-a-vis?
So we're growing at about 15%, and 12 to 15%. It's been, I would say, a little bit of a tough year last one year. Growth hasn't been as we expected. Of course, there have been a lot of changes environmentally. But having said that, I think we've identified strategies to deal with it, make our models more viable for some of these government initiatives, and that is the need of the hour. The metros, of course, continue to kind of grow, and I think that looks like quite promising, both the North Bombay and South Bombay hospitals. And so, yeah, I hope that next year will be.
And finally, government से अगर आपको request करना है to focus on this sector, which helps the private players like yours, तो क्या 2 या 3 आपकी important recommendation होगी या request होगी government को to look into?
I think a couple of things. If the agenda really is for this kind of a almost universal healthcare, and to make that successful, two things would have to be looked at from the penetration. Is A, the viability itself of the pricing, and second is the payment, right? And I think those two will be critical for the private sector to say, yes, we'll do it and we want to do it.
And finally, हम health policy तो बहुत साल से देख रहे हैं, सुन रहे हैं, आने वाली है national health policy. अभी तक तो उस पे हमने कुछ final approval नहीं देखा, but आपकी क्या specific expectation है health policy से लेकर?
I think the government should continue to kind of be the payer, because the infrastructure is what the private sector is good at doing, running, operating. That should be the way in that direction. That is the right thing, and for the government to be the payer is the right way, and rather than the government looking at building infrastructure and managing, and unlike some of the more developed countries. But I think what has to be really looked at is how it's done, and I think accessibility from the non-metros, interiors of the country to wherever healthcare is available. That has to be probably looked at from an infrastructure perspective.
All right, and finally, Women's Day is around the corner. क्या message देना चाहेंगे आप for women leaders, women, aspiring workers? क्या करना चाहिए? What is the message for women out there?
I think the message is that you gotta make your choices. At the end of the day, I think we always gotta have to think best for ourselves, because that's the best way that we can contribute and add value. And I think opportunities, the ecosystem is really kind of changing towards that. Even in terms of, I think, a lot more support at home, etc. So I don't think we need to feel like we've got to take the bullet for
everything.
For everybody.
All right. Wonderful speaking. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
And all the
Thanks
very
a lot.
best.
Bye-bye.
Take care.